It's a fabulous day outside. It is going to be an even more fabulous day here at our seventh annual NOW conference. My name is Jo Mackness, and I have the privilege of leading Central Human Resources, which is one of the sponsors of today's terrific event. It is also my absolute honor to introduce our opening speaker for today. This is a woman who really does not need an introduction. You can read up in the little app, which hopefully you all have downloaded, her bio and her many, many accomplishments. So I'll just introduce Carol Christ by simply expressing my deep gratitude for how fabulous of a leader she is, and especially how much of a true staff advocate she is. She's committed to staff engagement, equality, learning, career development. Carol is the first person of our campus leaders to sign up for handing out t-shirts at Summerfest. It's true, Carol. She also opens her university house every year to appreciate and celebrate our communities of practice and our staff org leaders. And she's deeply committed to creating a more inclusive and diverse staff community. And when I sent out the reminder to our cabinet for this NOW conference, I got this lovely note back from Carol, and it said, "Dear Jo, I'm going out on vacation the day of the NOW conference, but do you think I could possibly swing by and say a few words before I go to the airport?" So here she is, our 11th Chancellor of UC Berkeley, Carol Christ.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to see you all here today. Welcome to the 7th Annual Career Development Conference for UC Berkeley staff. I want to thank you first for your service every day, every year. You all know that Berkeley is the greatest public university in the world. That wouldn't be possible without all of you supporting our faculty, supporting our students, supporting all the wonderful things that this university does. Our excellence in teaching, research, and public service would not be possible without you. You make a tremendous difference to everybody in the community, and I'm so grateful to you for your work. There's research from Deloitte on the future of work that shows that organizations with a strong mission and purpose outperform the S&P 500 by 8-fold over a 20-year period. Now, I'm not sure we've outperformed the S&P 500 over any period, but our mission and purpose is a source of great pride, and everyone in the room helps build that. Learning and career development are the demonstrated keys to the university's excellence and the keys to your having a thriving and satisfying professional life. In the same Deloitte Future of Work study, 45% of respondents in North America reported believing that their current skills will not be adequate in just 3 years. And I'm sure you all know how fast the workplace is changing. Satisfying career progression is more varied than ever before, involving horizontal moves and project-based career progression, not just vertical career moves. Only 19% of companies, I think this is an interesting statistic, promote vertical career moves. 67% now promote horizontal or project-based career projection, again, according to Deloitte. So this makes active ownership of your own professional development really essential. My ideal of the Berkeley campus is a place where there are career ladders for every staff member who wants to progress on those ladders. And it now is more, I guess, less a straight ladder to the roof, then it's more like a game of snakes and ladders, but ultimately goes up. For all of these reasons, I'm delighted to open the Now Conference today. I want to thank the Planning Committee, and I'm going to call the names of the committee and ask them to stand. Angela Stopper, co-chair. Terry Moore, co-chair. Maddie Irwin, co-chair and the designee for 2020. Sarah Antonich, Nicole Blake, Danielle Carco, Jessica Chin, Deirdre Conroy, Tara Hertzstein, Lauren Krupa, Kate Lewis, and Luis Valencia. Please give them a hand. So this year's theme is Own Your Career. I hope you take inspiration from today's conference and take inspiration to take advantage of resources for your career and professional growth year-round. It's also this conference, this day, is an opportunity to strengthen your sense of community at UC Berkeley, to build your networks. So I encourage you to meet new people, to notice common interests and diverse strengths among fellow staff members. And so now what I'm going to do is turn the podium over to Angela and Terry, who are going to kick off the conference. And I hope you have just a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol and Jo, and thank you all for being here. My name's Angela Stopper. I'm your Chief Learning Officer, and so pleased to have you all with us today. And I have the great honor of introducing our keynote speaker for the morning. Now, I'm not going to go into the bio because, as Jo mentioned, you all have that in your app, and I don't want to take up too much time, but I will start by saying I have had the pleasure and honor of knowing and working with Shadan for a number of years, and have been inspired and moved by his words and his wisdom and his story. And I am so thrilled to be able to introduce my friend Shadan to all of you. And I hope you take some inspiration from this morning and have a great conference for the rest of the day. So with that, I just want to turn the floor right over to you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Wow. It's a lot of you. So, I am Shadan Deleveaux, and I'm psychic. And I know for a fact that I'm psychic, because at this very moment, I know for a fact that many of you are thinking, who the heck is this guy? And let's be honest, you weren't thinking heck, but it's a family event, so let's keep it G-rated, please. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate being here today. As I said, coming to this event is, the invitation from Angela meant a lot. The opportunity to come and to be able to speak to you as a group is something that I will forever cherish. As I say that, I will not be before you long. A wise person I know once told me, when speaking to a group of people, you must be three things: be brief, be good, and be gone. All right? Now, I can't promise that you'll think I'm good. But another wise person once said, and I think it was Confucius who said, hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I'm originally from Cambridge, Massachusetts, the son of an immigrant father, a first-generation American mother. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I majored in philosophy. And I'll say to you what I said to my parents: please don't kick me out. I'm joking with you. I was very serious when I said it to them. They felt very strongly about their hard-earned money. After college, I went into the packaged goods industry, where I worked for companies like Colgate-Palmolive and Ralston Purina. And they were great companies. I learned a lot. But honestly, analyzing shipments of dog food and cat litter was not how I had envisioned spending my days when I was in college. So I decided I needed a little bit more excitement. So I went to business school. I went to Columbia, got my MBA, and went to go work for L'Oreal USA. Now, a lot of the guys in the room right now are saying L'Oreal. And a lot of the women in the room are saying, L'Oreal? And so I say to you both, yes, L'Oreal. L'Oreal was great. I went and I did brand marketing there, and I got to run a couple of smaller brands, and I was responsible for everything from promotion, everything that you associate with the 5 Ps with respect to marketing, pricing, promotion, placement, all of those things. But I recognized that to be a good marketer, I really needed to understand the commercial side of the business. So I made a jump, and I went from marketing to business development, where I began to run about a dozen of their professional distributors across the country. After doing that for a few years, the company came to me and they said, hey, listen, we actually need someone to run our on-campus MBA recruitment. Would you be interested? I said, sure, why not? So I did that for a few years, and then I moved back over into the sales world. I had a good time doing all those things, but let me say, I'm a former college football player, philosophy major, who's worked in marketing, sales, human resources, in pet food, oral care, and now technology. I don't know much, but I do know about career paths. So today, I really want to speak to you about owning your own career. Even better, I'm going to give you a few tips about how to do it effectively. And so again, remember, I'm psychic. So some of you are thinking, Shadan, you don't even know me. You're going to give me advice? Yep. So, how do we start this journey of owning your career? What does that even look like? Well, it starts the same way a lot of journeys start, by being reflective. Think about this for a minute. Do you ever wake up in the morning, hop in the shower, get dressed, jump in the car, and start driving with absolutely no idea where you're headed to? Right? Now, some of you, depending on the week you had, you might say, you know what, Shadan, that sounds pretty amazing right now. But most of you are going to say, no, I at least have some form of loose idea of the direction I want to head. So think about your career the same way. Spend a long time thinking about what you want. The step is critical because it's work that no one else can do but you. It's your unique truth. This is what's going to serve as your true north, your compass, when things get difficult and you're walking your journey. And the great thing is that your reason, your why, your true north, it can be whatever you want. It can be as ethereal as you want. You can say, you know what? I want to live, learn, grow, and enjoy life. And that is perfectly valid. That is perfectly legitimate. It could also be very tactical. It could also be, I want to buy 5 houses in the next 5 years. That is also very legitimate. Now, it's nearly impossible here in the Bay, but as a goal, equally legitimate. The reason it's important, though, is because as you're evaluating what you want to do next, you get to compare them to your goals. Hey, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, Z. Will it allow me to live, grow, and enjoy life? Yes? Boom, let's do it. Or I'm thinking about doing ABC. Will that help me to buy 5 houses in the next 5 years? Yes? Boom, all right, I'm on it. The problem is that when you don't know what you want to do, the same thing that helps you to buy 5 houses may not be the same thing that allows you to live, grow, and enjoy life. So it's important to spend a lot of time just thinking about what that is. And I'll give you a very personal example. For me, I'm not particularly driven by title or position. So as you think about my career, marketing, sales, HR, oral care, it looks a lot more like a treasure map than anything else. I went to business school with some people who were very driven by position and driven by title, and they're more senior in their careers than I am. So theirs has been a lot more linear. And for them, that makes them happy. But for me, I get to wear sneakers to work every day and speak at Berkeley. So my point is, it comes down to what's important to you. All right. Second tip, it's about mindset. How many people here have ever been on some form of team, either a sports team, work team, project? Or, you know what? It doesn't even have to go that deep. I've recognized that your mind rules everything. That mindset is crucial. There are times when I wake up in the morning where I say to myself, hey, you know what? I'm going to the gym. My eyes open. I'm like, got a good night's rest. No aches, no pains. We're gonna go do this. And my mind is like, man, please. We're not going nowhere but back to sleep. No aches, no pains, no reason to not go. Literally just my mind pulling rank. Because as the mind goes, so goes the body. And so it's important in this process to make sure that your mind is in the right place. So I ask you to indulge me for one moment. Do me a favor, just for a minute, and close your eyes and think for a moment about what you want to be when you grow up. See, now you're laughing at me already. That wasn't even a joke. But here's why you're laughing. Okay, open your eyes for a second. Here's why you're laughing. Because you're thinking, and I'm psychic, so I know this. I heard the laughter from like right here in the front row. You're thinking, Shadan, I've been grown for quite some time. And I get why you think you're right. I understand that. But here's how I know you're not right. Because you're here today. And that indisputable fact of you being here today tells me something very, very, very important. This esteemed university has thousands of employees, but there are only 630 of you here today. So why did you come? To meet someone? To see presentations? Whether you realize it or not, you came to learn something, right? So that's indisputable fact number one. You're here to learn. Indisputable fact number two, learning equals growth. And think about it. When we say to someone, wow, how much you've grown, we're only partially talking about height. A lot of times we're speaking to the fact that this person now has knowledge or experiences that they didn't have the last time we saw them. So if learning equals growth and you're here to learn, that means you're not finished growing. That is a premise, a second premise, logically followed by a conclusion, which makes our argument valid, and the premise is true, which makes our argument sound, and boom, philosophy. Thank you very much. All right. So, back to closing your eyes. All right, so close your eyes with me for one more second. And think about this. What do your possibilities look like? What could it look like if you were walking in your talents, in your gifts, in your fulfillment? What does that look like for you? This step of imagining the possibilities is crucial because without it, your career may be something that you don't necessarily want. If I said to you, hey, I have something for you, and it's going to be exclusively yours, you're going to own it for your entire life. Oh, you can open your eyes. I'm sorry. I feel like some people fell asleep. I love it. Some people are like, oh, God, thank you. If I said to you, I have something that's exclusively for you, it is exclusively yours, you're going to own it your entire life, no one else. Your first question should be, well, thanks, but what is it? Right? And that's your career. And so if it's going to be yours for your life and your experiences and solely yours, it should be something that you want. And not just like kind of want, but like really, really, really want. And that first step of taking that opportunity to imagine those limitless possibilities helps to bring you a bit closer. My next piece of advice is be resilient. Listen, if you just used your imagination to think about what your career could possibly look like, I guarantee you, you're going to need some resilience because you're going to have some setbacks. And if you don't need resilience to achieve the thing that you just imagined, then you are doing your imagination a disservice. Because we're all imbued with certain gifts and certain talents. And understanding those and knowing what they are becomes sometimes a lifelong journey. But I can guarantee you that not every step of that process is easy. So you will meet some resistance in life. And so that resilience is going to be key for you to be able to achieve those things. The good news is that resilience is already in your DNA. And I'm positive of this. How do I know this? No, it's not my psychic ability this time. This is the power of observation. Today, I watched most of you walk into this room. Here's what I know. You were not born knowing how to walk. You crawled around for a very, very long time, right? You looked around and you saw that, it's more efficient if I could just use 2 legs to get around instead of these arms and legs. And so you tentatively stood up, you held on to something, maybe your parents, maybe the sofa, maybe a coffee table, and you took those first tentative steps. And you know what happened? You fell right on your butt. And you sat there, probably confused. Understandably, this was your first failure in life. No one prepared you for it. But you didn't stay there. You crawled back over and you kept trying it again and again and again until today. And so whether that's being able to walk, being able to talk, being able to read, there were certain things that you saw where you never questioned whether you would really be able to do it or not. You just kept trying until it actually happened. And you have to take that same resilient attitude that's already in your DNA and apply it to the steps in your career. Because that level of confidence in yourself and your ability will bring you that much closer to where you ultimately want to be. Speaking of setbacks, I'll share a personal example. There was a time at L'Oreal where I had a major setback. At the time, I was running campus recruitment for L'Oreal, and I was charged with attracting MBAs to the company. And so we found a company that would allow us to email MBAs, like en masse. And to me at the time, it seemed like a great idea. Oh, wow, I can send 2,000 emails to people who I don't know. What could possibly go wrong with that? Let me tell you. So I send these emails out, and listen, 1,999 of them will go out with no issue. There was one person who emailed me back saying that they did not appreciate my email, which, that's fair. Okay. They then took their reply to me and my initial email, which had my name, email address, title, company, and posted it on their blog. Ooh, wait a minute. They then started pitching the story of how they told me off to media publications. And then a couple of media publications picked it up. So now I'm trending. Now, you want to talk about a setback? That is a CEO phone call to your boss type of setback. That is a, I can't sleep at night because my stomach is in knots type of setback. That is, when you Google my name, that's the first result. No exaggeration, setback. My name was trash on the internet. I had never been famous for anything. And now, this is how I make my mark. November 2014, I'll never forget. So I have a choice. I can, pack it up, go home, never use the internet again, maybe? I don't know. I mean, really, what's my choice? Or take control of the narrative, take ownership. And a friend said to me, and I'll never forget this, I'll be forever grateful for her advice. She said, Shadan, this is not your story. Take control and own your narrative. And so I started to write. I started a small blog on Tumblr, The Ultimate Guide to Not Screwing Up Your Career. Dead serious, based on personal experience. I had no shortage of content. The blog began to pick up a few readers, which was great. So I wrote and wrote and wrote, and I really geared it towards new grads, young career professionals, hoping that I could help them learn off of the experiences that I had, hoping that I could tell them some of the things I wish people had told me. Like when you're a brand marketer, your forecast is critically important because if you don't put it in correctly, the plant is not going to make your number one product and you're going to be out of stock for 7 weeks. Yeah, oh, that was bad too. Whole different story. Listen, if you invite me back next year, I'll tell that one. So I'm writing this article, I'm writing this blog, and it gets picked up. People start reading it. So a friend comes to me, she says, hey, look, you know what? I'm writing an article for Ebony magazine, and I'm looking for someone to give me some career advice and who I can quote in the article. Would you like to participate? I said, are you kidding me, Ebony? Listen, growing up as a black man, I felt like I was on Oprah. Like, it was Ebony and Jet, that was it. I felt like I had made it. One article turned into 2, which turned into more, which then turned into an editor at Fortune reaching out saying, we've seen your advice, we've seen your columns. Would you like to be an expert contributor to Fortune.com? Which I started writing for consistently. That opportunity then led to a recognition for network journal 40 Under 40, which led to Google reaching out saying, hey, we've noticed you. We like the way you've actually taken control of your story. Because I asked the woman who's going to be my boss, why me? What made you reach out? She said, you know what? You're not waiting for a company to control your narrative. You're controlling it yourself, and I love that. I need that. To Google making me an offer and hiring me. To me then making a video for how to get hired at Google. So now, when you look at that video, it has over 1.2 million views last time I checked. So now when I say Google me, it's a triple entendre, right? I didn't know any of that back in November 2014. It seemed like the worst time, the worst period of my life. So what I'll say to you is that if you're going through that, use that resilience to push through, because you never know how those challenges, obstacles, and setbacks can propel you to your next opportunity. Trust me when I tell you this. Your success will be forged in the crucible of your failures. Which leads me to my last piece of advice. How many people have ever seen the show MacGyver? Oh, I love it, right? Listen, for those of you who haven't seen it, you are missing out. This was a show that was on in the late 80s about a guy named Angus MacGyver. And this is how you know it was a different time, because you could have a star of a show named Angus. And this guy MacGyver, every week, he would find himself in these crazy situations. And not just like a little crazy. I mean like stuck in a room with a bomb about to go off, with only 60 seconds on the bomb, and all he had is a tangerine, a toothpick, and a mop. And somehow, every week, MacGyver would disarm that bomb with 1 second to spare. Now, listen. I don't know how he did it, but I'm glad he did, because it was, actually, what I don't know is how he found himself in a room with a bomb every week, but I was back for more every time. So my point is this. When you're looking at your situations, You have to change your mindset from why can't this happen to what can I do to make this happen? If MacGyver stood in front of that bomb every week and said, man, I really wish I had a bomb disposal unit, that show would have been 1 episode long. We can't waste time thinking about the things we don't have. We have to be creative and think about the tools at our disposal, the things that we do have. So for you, I don't know what that is for you. For me, I had a voice, I had content. I turned that into a platform, which led to other platforms, which led to opportunities. For you, you're already attached to an amazing university. So is that proximity? Is that relationships? Is that knowledge? Think about the things that you have at your disposal to be able to turn your situation into whatever you need it to be. All right. The rules to any good presentation are pretty straightforward. You tell people what you're going to tell them. You tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. It's brilliant, right? So, I'm going to tell you what I told you. 1, you have to be reflective. Take that critical time to understand your why, so that when things get difficult, you can pull it out and use it to orient yourself to your path. No one can do that work for you. That is exclusively yours, but it is critically important. 2, open your mind to the limitless possibilities of your potential. Or, for short, get your mind right. Number 3, be resilient. I'll say, as I look across careers and as I counsel people, resilience is the one quality that I have to counsel them on the most. Because when we're used to being successful, that first time we get knocked down can be earth-shattering. But it's the only way you develop that thick enough skin to press on. So, be resilient. Or, more colloquially, don't be a punk. And exhibit that all too rare trait of stick-to-itness. Funny story, I was actually in Panama working on this speech, and I got into a debate with my friend who I was with on whether it was stick-to-itness or stick-to-itiveness. We never came to a resolution, but if any of you all know, you can just tweet me later on. Step 4, be resourceful. Or, more simply, when worse comes to worse, just MacGyver it. Thank you very much.
Do you want to take any questions?
Oh, sure. Do I have time? Okay, absolutely. Oh, apparently we have time for questions.
Yeah, we have about 5 minutes for questions. So if anybody has any questions.
Don't be shy.
Anyone?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you. The best part of my career right now? Honestly, I love this. Yeah, I love this part. I love talking to people. I love being on stage. I love engaging and having that dialogue in terms of helping people how to see around their situations. Because a lot of times people, when you think about where they are, they actually have the answers in terms of things that they need to do. It's just that when you're right in front of a situation, it can be hard to get perspective. And so sometimes you need that person to come who has a bit of distance from it to say, oh yeah, wait, you want to do this? And you're here? Why don't you just do this? And then you go, yeah, that makes sense. It sounds so simple, right? The only difference is perspective. And so for me, having the ability to having the freedom to be able to create content and deliver it, which causes people to think a little bit differently about their career and then engage in the dialogue. I love that. Thank you. Yes.
Do you have any tips or recommendations on how to get to make time for the reflective part that you were talking about? That's step one.
Absolutely. So I'll say you have to be hyper intentional about trying to carve it out, because as life gets busy or as life goes on, I have no idea where my time goes. But what I'll say is my most reflective time is in the shower in the morning, right? Like, oh my God, I am amazing in the shower. I can sing, my voice is incredible. I'm a genius, I have brilliant ideas. Like, I'm thinking the next time I'm in the shower, I'm just gonna design a portable shower so I can wear a shower around all day. And just be a savant. But no, you have to be intentional. So that shower time is most people have the time to do that. So if you're intentional about that, they actually even have like waterproof notepads and stuff like that, so you can jot ideas down. But yeah, you do have to be creative. But it's crucial, because when you take the time to do that, you're better for yourself and then for everyone that's relying on you as well. Sure, thank you. Yes. Uh-oh.
But I'm wondering if you can share your why.
My why?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. Sure. So, as I said, I am the firstborn of an immigrant father and first-generation American mother. Right? I was actually raised predominantly by my grandmother, who grew up in the Bahamas, on a small island called Andros. She grew up with no running water, no electricity. Their kitchen floor was made out of sand. She couldn't finish 7th grade because she had to help her family earn money. So they used to basically hire her to other families to help work the land. So she came to the States, and when we were young, she would say, listen, you have to get your education. No one can take it from you. And for me, looking back, I recognized that, wow, she recognized the value of it, even though she didn't have the opportunity to even graduate from middle school. And so as I think about that, I really feel a duty, because I feel that each generation has a responsibility of advancing things as far as they can. So in my mind, I literally envision my grandmother running as fast as she can with a baton and handing it off, and me taking it and running as hard and fast as I can. And that's my why.